Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us here today, and welcome to the HSEQ Professional Free Webinar Series. We have arranged these sessions as our way to give back to support your growth, share useful insight, and help build a stronger, more responsible professional community. We have choose today's topic as environmental, social, and governance (ESG). It's a very well-known topic nowadays across the globe in health and safety industry. It is all about going business in a way that cares for the environment, value people, and runs responsibly. Just an information that over 65% of energy usage in GCC is being consumed by corporate buildings. I have seen this post a few days back in some article, and it's very, very alarming. We believe that that's a huge opportunity for corporate companies to make a positive impact. We have a great and excited to welcome Mr. Panos Mitsis. He's a co-founder and COO of a well-known Techmon, a company
Mhm.
making it easier for business to go digital and meet ESG safety and quality goals.
Great.
Their smart no-code platform helps team replace paper and spreadsheets with powerful tools and daily operations powered by AI. Mr. Panos brings more than a decade of experience in tech sustainability and innovation, and we are glad to have him here today. So, Mr. Panos, over to you. Please continue.
Yeah, thank you a lot for the introduction. Hello, everyone. My name is Panos. I have prepared the presentation today. Hopefully, I will start, and maybe for some people will be some very basic things, but once I move to my presentation, it's going to be more advanced, what I'm going to present. Let me share my screen. Let me do that. Sorry. Is it okay? I guess you can see my screen, correct?
Yes, sure.
Okay, good. I will be a bit provocative, and actually it's going to be my personal opinion. And I wanted to start this presentation with why. Why ESG is a big topic today. My personal opinion, I will try to convince you on that, is that money is what, pushes things forward. And I think that there are some very strong economical drivers that are driving ESG to become a global thing. I don't think it's so much about environment, the core. I believe this is my personal opinion, and I will explain why. So it was, first of all, I will go, a big back, 1989. Exxon Valdez was an oil tanker. Maybe the older of you have heard of that or you remember that as well. It hit a reef near Alaska and it polluted a very, very big area of Alaska shores. The company actually lost around 5 billion due to the drop, actually mostly in a share price drop, fines, and cleanup costs. So there was a big blow for Exxon, the company. Of course, it survived and it thrived after that. But this was a big cost for the company and the investors of the company. 1996, Life magazine publishes shocking photos from Nike sweatshops. This was actually small factories that were vendors of Nike, and they were actual kids producing balls, shoes, etc., products of Nike. It was a big shock for the most advanced at that time Western societies. There was a big wave of boycotts of Nike products. Actually, the company lost 60% of the value in 2 years. Of course, again, it was one of the cases that the company survived and thrived after that, but it was again a big blow for the company itself, for the investors, etc. 2001, Enron in the States. Enron was a leading energy company. Actually, it was a paradigm of the companies of the sector, of the energy sector. It was considered the most innovating company at that moment in the market in the US states. And the two guys that you see in the photos actually have created a corporate structure that it was very easy to false and cook the books. And what actually they manipulating the financial results. The company was not doing as well as it was presented to the stock exchange and the investors. This was something that it was revealed. It was a big shock for the company. And actually, this company this time did not survive. It closed down. The company lost 75 billion for the shareholders and 20 billion for the creditors of the company. So as I go back, Exxon Valdez was an environment risk. Nike was a social risk. And Enron was a governance risk. And actually, from all this history, investors, companies, stock exchange actually realized that reading financial statements, reading the books, the financial performance of the companies was not enough to calculate what was the value and what was the trajectory of the companies in order to push them to invest in the companies, to lend money, etc. So this is, in my opinion, what ESG is essential and why ESG has become big. I don't believe that if there was not a real economic driver, would make ESG so big globally. So in the heart of ESG is mitigating non-financial factors and actually mitigating financial risk from non-financial factors. And it is structured in three main categories: environment, social, and governance. So what do investors, what do the society again expects from these companies? I'm not going to read all the bullet points. I guess you're aware of that. To limit the climate change, to prevent from natural disasters like one that we described, to reduce their CO2 emissions, optimize the use of the resources, etc. in the case of environment. In the social aspect, to respect the human rights, the equality, to eliminate discrimination, to allow the workers to have work-life balance, etc. And in the governance area, to have anti-bribery and anti-corruption measures, to strengthen stakeholders' rights, to keep an independence of the and third-party supervisory of the board. And this is another way to see, like a more graphical way to see what is environment, social, and governance. So when we talk about environment, it's about climate stability, natural resources, about waste management and innovation in the product. When it comes to social, it's about human management, diversity, the value chain, as we saw with Nike. This is the responsibility of the company does not stop within the companies, but also goes beyond the companies to the value and the supply chain of the companies, even to the society and the local communities. And when it comes to governments, It's about risk management, corporate governance, anti-bribery and anti-corruption, and transparency. So, how do companies keep track of all of that? Because this is a general framework, what companies need to report. But when it comes, day to day, how can a company report to their investors, to their society, to the banks, to the lenders, their efforts towards those goals? There are some frameworks, there are some reporting frameworks that are saying what you need to uh, report for environment, what you need to report for, and what you need to do for social aspect and for governance again. So there are different, actually, since 1996 was the first framework introduced, it keeps changing and it's very demanding. And actually, there are a lot of updates every year. But let's say the main frameworks are GRI, SASB, CDB, TCFD. In Europe, where I'm living, we have EFRAG and ESRS. So we have different frameworks that the companies need to report under, and companies choose to report depending on where their footprint is. For example, if your footprint is mostly to the States, maybe you choose TCFD or CDP. If you are in the Middle East, maybe GRI is the framework Go, or in Europe, ESRS. But in essence, more or less, all these frameworks actually dictate how companies are gonna report environment, social, and governance. And my background is not, even if my background is sustainability engineering, I'm an engineer in background, and um, electrical engineering and software engineering. I have combined those two disciplines. So I'm gonna speak to you in the rest of the presentation, mostly around how companies can digitize all this process. Because as you can imagine, to collect information from all these areas, report under a specific way, calculate specific KPIs, produce a final report, it's a very big challenge for the companies. So in this presentation, I'm gonna focus mostly on the data management and data structure and how companies and what they have to think when they're managing sustainability data. So what we do as a company, we're a software company. The company is called Techmon, and we help in three different areas. How companies can automate data collection, how they can streamline the ESG reporting, and of course, if they want to go one step ahead and improve their performance, how they can do that. But I will not talk about what we do as a company. I have created a presentation that, depending on the vendor, depending on the technology, you can do it internally, you can do it with us, you can do it with another vendor. Whatever is the case, the same principles apply, because the same challenges are there for everyone. And in the next slides, I will try to explain should be your what should be your strategy in digitizing this part of your operations. So I will start with automating data collection. Sorry. Yeah. The first thing that a company needs to do when they digitize environment, social, and governance reporting, they need to eliminate data collection workload. I don't know why does that. Okay. They need to eliminate data collection workload. What does this mean? You should avoid circumstances where you ask the same person to give you the same information in two different ways. I have seen this many, many times. So, for example, maybe you ask a safety engineer to give you um, injuries, accidents, incidents for one kind of reporting, for safety reporting, and then you need, again, the same information for sustainability reporting. Or you ask the technical department to give you energy consumption of the company uh, for for a technical reporting that you want to do. And again, you ask the same person to provide the same information, maybe with a bit different structure for doing your sustainability reporting. So the first thing that you need to do when digitizing the processes is to help your people, help your internal stakeholders not to do twice or three times the same job and same data collection activity. So how you can help them? You need to find the data, the main data sources, and build automatic data pipelines. And you need to prioritize. What I mean prioritize? There are several ways that you can collect information and automate data collection, but there are some ways, some pipelines that are more automatic than others, and this is why you need to prioritize. The first thing that you need to do is to see if those data, this environmental, social, governance data, are already stored in a system that you operate within the company. For example, maybe you have um, um, maybe you have an energy management software or an energy management system, or you have an HR software where you keep information, social information about the status of the employees. What are their age group? What are the gender, etc. So if the information that you need to collect is already stored in another system, you need the first and most efficient way to collect this information is by integrating to this system. So the first thing that you can do is to integrate and collect information from the existing systems. If this is not possible, either because the system is a legacy system and you cannot integrate with, or the information is provided by an external partner. For example, we have many use cases that maybe you have a collaboration with a petrol gas company, with a petrol stations that they provide monthly or weekly or bi-monthly or once a year, doesn't matter, with an Excel file with all your petrol consumption for your vehicles. There are ways that you can take this Excel file and you can extract automatically the information from the Excel file or the CSV file or the JSON file. This is our different spreadsheet files, and collect this information and submit it to a database. So first way is integrating the system. Second way is to extract information from spreadsheet automatically. Third way is via artificial intelligence. In the old days, I mean, not days, I mean like 3 or 4 years ago, the way to collect information, for example, from water bills, if you wanted to do it with a more automatic way, you needed to utilize a technology that was called OCR, optical recognition, character recognition. This technology was a good technology, but it couldn't work very well because if, for example, the energy provider, the water bill company, was changing the layout of the water bill, the whole pipeline was broken, was breaking. Sorry. Now, with AI, this is more easy to automate this process. The only thing that you can do is take these water bills, for example. This is only example. This can be done also for other kind of information that you have PDF or image files. Upload it to a folder, and the AI, with the help, of course, of optical recognition of OCR, can extract information from the document and submit the correct information to the correct place and the correct place within the database for to be reporting ready. If all these three ways fail, then again you need to ask your people to submit the information in a digital form. I believe that this is far more efficient than give them Excels, because then you need to consolidate it manually to a single Excel file, the information. So what you can do then is to give them a link, give them access to a system, or create a process internally that they can submit information on their PC, and then all the information from the different stakeholders, from the different locations, is consolidated to a main database, and again, it's reporting ready. So there are 4 ways that you can collect data. And the most efficient is integrating with the existing system. Then the second most efficient is collecting information from Excel files that are external Excel files. You don't produce them internally, with automatic pipelines. These are called ETL, actually, extract, transform, and load pipelines. The third most efficient is AI, and the fourth most efficient is digital forms that are consolidated automatically. Now, once we understand the data points, we understand the data owners, and we create these pipelines. As you can see, all these 3 actions, 1, 2, and 3, all except the system integration, actually requests from a person to do something. For example, in this case, somebody has to upload an Excel file to a database. In this case, somebody has to take the PDF files from the external company, from the water bill company, and upload them to a platform. And this, some request from a data owner to submit information to a digital form. These three ways actually requests from a specific person to do something. So now we go to the second requirement. We usually challenge that you will face in this case. So you have created the pipelines, but people need to do something. How do you manage this communication? You have to remind them. People do other things and maybe they forget to submit the information or upload the Excel files or upload the documents. So how do you engage those data owners? And how do you monitor the progress during the year? The last thing you want is to have only 2 weeks or 1 month for your annual reporting and still collecting data. So what you need to do is you need to automate notifications. So there are ways that you can ping those stakeholders. You can send them SMS, automatic SMS. You can send them automatic emails. You can send desktop notifications. Not only what they need to do, but also how they're gonna need to do. So if they need to upload an Excel file, you need to have instruction where is this folder file and how they're gonna upload the information. Or if they are gonna use the AI tool that you have designed for them, they need again instructions, because maybe this is a new employee or they don't do so regularly. Maybe they do it once per quarter. So maybe they have forgotten what exactly they need to do. So what I suggest you to do is you don't have to stop at building the pipelines, but help the people that maintaining those pipelines to actually execute on time. And of course, you also need to have a progress report, meaning that you need to have a dashboard that those locations, for example, they have submitted their information on time, those didn't. So this is a very critical requirement and a very clear technical solution. So now, another thing that many companies actually experience is low data quality. What I mean by that? Maybe for your reporting, you need to calculate the waste in tons. You ask the information in tons, but the user actually provides the information in kilograms. This is going to be a very big mistake in terms because you will have 1,000 times the actual value. Or maybe you ask some things like a set of things of information from your data owners, and they bring you back only half of the information. All these, either mistakes or misinformation, are low data quality. And as they say in software, garbage in, garbage out, meaning that if your data that you submit in any platform are not good quality, the outcome, again, is not going to be good, of course. So how can you ensure high data quality and data integrity? There are 4 technical solutions. First, you can create validation rules. What I mean by that, you can create rules that at the time of submission, if, for example, somebody submits something that seems out of range, or it's a negative price, or something that is not valid at all, it will give to the person that submits information a warning that this value that you provide is most probably wrong or is incorrect. So at the entry point, you can create validation rules or mandatory fields that you cannot submit this file to the system if you have not submitted every information in the platform, even if it's 0. Second way is building approval processes. You can have, for example, your data owners that are all your employees in the several locations of the company submitting information, and then you can build a second layer before this information go to the final reporting for some other people to approve this information. So you also can track mistakes by creating this approval process. A third way is by creating visual warnings. So even if the information reaches the final report, you can create some warnings in the system so they can indicate mistaken values or some tipping or some values that are incorrect. Before AI, we had to do these last visual warnings. We had to do this hard-coded. What I mean by that, that we had to create manually the rules when there is a mistake. So you can understand that this takes a while because you have to think every scenario and actually code this. Now with AI, this is much faster and much more efficient. You can integrate an AI agent in the system that is actually a quality control agent, an AI agent that actually the purpose is to find values in the system that seem incorrect. Important, this agent does not go and replace these values. They just come back to you with a set of values that they think that are incorrect. So you have to go there and see if this is correct or not, because maybe there is a value and indeed this was a correct value, even if it seemed that was incorrect. This anomaly could be correct. And we have seen this many times. Now, another thing about requirements is for companies that are every company and ESG reporting, whatever the framework that you follow, is an annual report. So, and there are some other companies, the bigger ones mostly, that they also want to track month by month, the performance. But data come to the platform not from first of the month until to the last day of the month or start of the year until the end of the year. Most probably, when you get a water bill, there is a start time and an end date that is random within the year. So a data management problem, I would say, is how you can normalize this information. So you have random data days that you have to normalize for your reporting period. So again, there are software mechanisms. I will not go into very much detail, but it's pretty simple actual mechanisms that you can assign, and you can actually go from the random data dates to normalized data in your platform based on the reporting period that you have chosen, if this is an annual, if this is a quarterly, or if this is a month. So again, this is a requirement that you have to see what, no matter what is the system that you will implement. Now, there are several companies that the first thing that you are doing is nobody starts with the digitization. Everybody starts first with Excel files, and then when they collect some information after 1 or 2 years, they understand that this is not sustainable, and they go digital. They want to go digital. So you come up to a state where you go digital, but you already have historical data from 3 or 4 years that you're collecting in Excel files. So when you go digital, you can do it, but it's not the best practice to leave this information in another system. The most optimal way is to bring also your historical data to your current system. So what we have done, for example, here, this is Lulu hypermarkets. We started working with them in 2023. They were collecting information from the different countries that they were operating since 2019. And they didn't want two separate systems. They didn't want their old system and the new system, which was Techmon, to have two different databases. So what we did for them, and what, of course, any company should do for you or internally, if you will digitize internally the processes, to also migrate all your historic data to the existing system. Actually, there is a question I can see from Aksan Hussein. Was this by mistake or Aksan? I can take questions. It's not a... I guess no. Okay. I will continue. If this is the case, I can stop and respond to some questions.
Keep the questions in the end of the session.
Yeah, sure.
Sure. Hopefully everybody will be okay with this.
Yeah. Now, there are cases, again, we are still in the data management process. And actually, this is the last slide from the data management. It's easy to collect information internally, but when things is a bit more complex, for example, imagine that you need to collect information from your stakeholders, meaning from your vendors. And you have vendors that are raw material vendors, you have software vendors, you have services and consulting vendors, you have different type of vendors, or even you have different type of process as well. So the vendors are, in this case, it's very difficult for you to collect one process for every different category of your vendors. So what we have thought, we have implemented, and I think this is a very good also practice in general, is to create some guided data collection process. What I mean, guided data collection process. You can see here in this print screen, this is a real case. This is a supplier self-assessment, self-audit questionnaire. So what you do actually there is that you can create a link like a Google form, for example, or a Google questionnaire. It's the same, it works exactly the same thing. You can provide this link to your suppliers, and then depending on, for example, what are the frameworks or the ISO systems that they follow, depending on the category of the suppliers, depending on what they click there here, the information that this questionnaire then asks them to submit is different. So it's a very customized way that with one data pipeline, you can tailor the data collection data points to the specific company or the specific entity that you want to collect information from. So this is a very effective way, especially for collecting information for suppliers or from stakeholders, for example, for doing materiality analysis. So now, talking about materiality analysis, I go to the second area of when going digital, is about how you can go and streamline your ESG reporting. So first of all, you need to conduct a materiality analysis. Forget here, double materiality is a requirement from the European standards. I believe in your case, in most cases, you need to do a materiality analysis, a simple materiality analysis, but this is a very similar concept. So what you can digitize in this case is that you can digitize the responses and the calculation of each material issues from the various stakeholders. What it actually does for those that are not very familiar. For example, as I said, environment, social, and governance has very many different areas that you can report to. Each company is different. So, for example, if you're a bank, or if you're a construction company, or if you are a manufacturing company or a retail company, depending on your sector, depending on your geography, or depending on your corporate structure, each company need to report in a bit different material issues, as we call it, in different areas. How a company identifies these areas that they need to report, this is even before start reporting and collecting information. There is a process that the companies need to do that is called materiality analysis. Actually, this is a structured questionnaire that you build it with your consultant, or if you have some ESG consult, if you have a strong internal ESG team, you can build it internally as well. But what is essentially, it's a questionnaire with several topics, and then depending on, for example, your internal stakeholders, your clients, your communities, etc., they respond to these questions, and those issues that have the highest impact for your company are those that the company will report. So this process, again, this is a process that companies can digitize. Then the second thing when it comes to reporting is that you need to calculate your greenhouse gas emissions. How you calculate greenhouse gas emissions? There are some organizations like EPA, Greenhouse Gas Protocol, EEA, DEFRA, etc. There are some companies out there, and some organizations out there that they provide each year some carbon emission conversion factors. For example, because they're not actual carbon emissions, but it's a conversion factor. For example, what is when you are throwing waste, for example, what is the equivalent of the waste in CO2 emissions? What is the equivalent of water production consumption? What is the equivalent of petrol, of gas, etc.? So, or from air travel. It's a huge database that actually converts your operations to CO2 emissions. So the calculations are pretty simple, but when you do it into scale, it's very complex to keep up and calculate them every year. So what uh, we do, and every company do, and you should do as well, is that you need to take these conversion factors from the organizations that you have selected to calculate your emissions, and then connect them with the data sources that we talked previously. So you connect the raw data, for example, kilogram of waste, of water, electricity, kilowatt hours of electricity, etc. And then you multiply with the conversion factor to come up with the CO2 emissions. Then you sum up all your multiplications, and then with the sum up, you calculate the company's total emissions. But as I said, this you need to report for different categories. You need to report for internal, for scope 1, for scope 2, and scope 3 emissions, and per location, per category, per company, depending on the organization structure. So what we do as a company, and you should do also internally, is automate these carbon emission calculations, integrate with those carbon emission databases, update them every year, and create an automatic, when you collect information, automatically this match with the corresponding conversion factors and calculate the total carbon emissions of the company. The second thing that you have to do is to align with the frameworks. As we discussed previously, there are frameworks. So you collect all this information, but you have to report with a very, very specific way, depending on the framework that you have chosen to report under. For this reason, software vendors like us, actually we are one of the very few that we are a certified GRI software vendor. What means by that? That beside the system, what we have created in the system is that we have codified the reporting standards. So for example, if you want to report for a recycled input of materials, which is GRI 301 plus 2, this is a specific paragraph of the reporting frameworks. What we have done in the platform is that we have created all the data points and what you need to collect information, what information need to be collected. We have recommendations. We have external resources, guidance, glossary, versioning, etc. So no matter how you can do that, this is, I think, one of the most efficient way that you can do that. Have codify your frameworks will help you a lot to report under these frameworks. And actually, what you can do also in our system, you can export them and submit this information to the GRI standards themselves, and they also give you the corresponding proof of compliance. Another thing that you have to think is also about being audit ready. What means by that? The same way that you need to be audit ready for your financial statements. So if an external auditor goes to the procurement of your company, they need to be able to, for every financial statement, they need to be able to prove how this was composed and what was the invoices, etc. So the same way applies for non-financial reporting and for ESG. So when you report CO2 emissions, for example, you need to be able to go back. For example, my KPI was 0.313 for diesel consumption. This is an intensity KPI. This is why it's 0.13. And I need to prove to an external auditor why this is a correct KPI. I can click here I can see all the submissions for this category. I can click a single submission. I can see who submitted this information, from which country, when, etc. So what you also need to pay very much attention where you're going digital is also, it's a very good also opportunity for you, because it's impossible to be audit ready with emails and Excel files. Imagine coming somebody to your company and asking how you calculated this CO2 emissions, and then you will need to go through emails and open emails, download Excel files from each store or each location that was submitted and send it to you. It's impossible. So when you go digital, you also need to create also a mechanism. So when an external auditor comes to your company, for you to be very easy, demonstrate how you collected the information and how you calculated each and every KPI. And the last one, when we go about compliance, you need to create an annual sustainability report. So you need to have dashboards. At the end of the day, of course, your marketing department of the company might be involved to create some specific, a very nice and good-looking output and a PDF file. But for you, as an internal and operation department, you need to have ready all the information that will go to the final report. You need to have the KPIs, you need to have the tables, etc. So beside creating all the data collection pipelines, engaging with the data owners, making sure that you follow the frameworks, etc., you need to build some dashboards, some reporting dashboards that very easily can be incorporated in your annual sustainability report. And the best tool to do this is business intelligence tools. You can use Microsoft Power BI. This is what we use. You can use ClickSense. There are other BI business intelligence tools where you can create these dashboards. They are created automatically and very easily with a click of the button. You download them and you create, you input them to your Word file, or whatever is the case. You give them to the marketing team or etc. to create the final report. But everything is ready there for you to report. And I go to the final part of my presentation, and then I can take some questions. It's about facilitating improvement, how you become better, how a software can help you become better. First of all, you need to be able to track your goals. So, for example, maybe you have a goal to increase your recycling. Maybe you have a goal to decrease your electricity consumption, etc. Whatever is your goal, or maybe it could be a social goal, to have more women in key positions in the company. Whatever is the case, you should have in your system to be able to create a goal and also to be able to monitor. What I have seen, and it's a bit crazy, I have seen companies, but it's normal. I mean, it's crazy if you think it as a business manager, but in practice, it's very difficult to do otherwise. Companies calculate the goals, they have an annual report, and they have the total results 6 months after the previous year. So we are in the middle of 2025, and companies now understand the goals, what happened in 2024. This is crazy. It's impossible to manage operations like that. So what you need to do is to have a system, once data are coming to the platform, to be able to see, am I going to hit the goal or not? Do I need to make a corrective actions, etc.? Maybe the goal was a bit too, it was low or too high. Whatever is the case, you need to understand this real time. You cannot wait 1.5 years after the data collection process to see where you are heading. And the digital process can help you do that. But creating goals doesn't mean that you will succeed. You also need to be able to create action plan. I mean, me as well, I want to make more money, for example. But if I don't do something, I will never hit that goal. I need to do something. So just creating a goal in the system or creating a goal in your company doesn't mean just because you have this goal and you are tracking this goal that you will achieve this goal. You need to do some actions. So in your system, you also need to create an action plan. This is not required by the frameworks themselves. Frameworks do not ask, frameworks are reporting frameworks. They just ask you to report. So we are done with the frameworks. Now we are here to discuss about how you can become better. And frameworks do not give a lot of help there. So in your system that you will create, I strongly suggest you to also be able to create action planning. The same way when it's about safety. If you have near misses and accidents, if you don't do your corrective actions or you don't have preventive actions, you will never reach your goals in minimizing your injuries, for example. So you need to have a system. Again, you have teams. People are going to be there to do these actions. You need to assign tasks, collaborate, monitor progress against for this action planning. And then this is my slide, and I have left 10 minutes for discussion. It's about benchmarking. Okay, you can see, let's say that you have a company, you operate in different locations, you can compare and benchmark from one location to another. So your system will help you a lot. So it's very good to benchmark against your different operations. It's very good to benchmark against your past performance, but also it's very critical to benchmark against your competition. How you can do that? How you can benchmark against your competition? There are some companies out there. It's not ours is not one of them, but there are other companies out there that they have ratings, companies rating. You can go there to these companies and you can ask, what is, for example, a good ratio of women men vs men for my category, for my business line? They will give you some responses, and then you can create your goals. Or what is the average energy consumption per square meter in my sector, etc. So they can give you some practical benchmarking goals for you. Actually, not goals, you set up the goals, but they give you some benchmarking data that in your system you can also integrate. So what we do as a company, we take this information from third-party data sources that we can work with you. For example, we work with every company that we work with, and we import this information from in the system, so it will help you understand which of the goals that you track make sense to create a better goal or go stronger to a specific goal. So this is from me. Thank you a lot. This was the presentation. I hope it was helpful and practical. If there are some questions, of course, I'm here to respond.
Thank you very much, Mr. Panos. It was a great meeting. It's a great session. Please, everyone, raise your hand if you have any questions. Hello, everyone. Does anybody have any questions? Please feel
Questions
free
or
to
they
ask
have
them.
some feedback. I mean, if they have seen it, I mean, as a challenge in the company, this way of digitizing or, could be anything.
So it's my audible. If you allow me, please.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is Mr. Wael Anizi speaking from Sabic Company. I am safety supervisor. Now I am focal point for the site project. So how can I implement the good environment in the site project? For example, we have a big project and we want to implement the good environment, and we are focusing for the environment. So what's the best solution, or what's the best way to implement this environment plan?
So even if you work as a safety in your team, you are also responsible for environmental, I guess, data collection and reporting, correct? Was that
Yes.
the question? Yeah. So do you have any platform at the moment for safety, or how you collect information at the moment?
As you know, we have some checklist that's related to the safety work permit, training, like this. But for that the environment we have, but not as you mentioned for the we have plan, benchmark. This is we are not talking about it. Yes, as you know, it's construction project.
So what I suggest as a strategy, not as a tool, because we can discuss as a tool more specific, but as a strategy, when you go this, the good thing is that you can separate data reporting from data collection. When you have paper forms, usually data collection and data reporting is the same thing. You collect paper checklists that are very similar with your reporting. But when you are going digital, what I suggest is to think what I need my organization need to report. For example, what would an environmental dashboard I would need to have, for example, this information, and I want a button to change projects. What was this project, the second, the third project? So you design your final report in your mind, or in something like a mock-up, and then you design the data collection activity. For example, in our case, we use mobile application. We have a mobile application that you can download from Android and iOS devices. Instead of having paper forms, you can collect information from your mobile device. We also have a mobile application that works offline. So if you're in a project where there's no internet connection, or we have, for example, underground tunnels. We work with London Underground in the United Kingdom. Or with construction companies that it's not, you don't have always internet. So even offline, and it's very easy because you work under the sun. So you need somebody to very easily collect information with big buttons, big screens in a tablet, and then all this information feed your dashboard. So my suggestion is think what you want your dashboard, your reporting needs to be, and then find something or create a solution to help people, instead of collect information with paper, collect information, for example, from a digital checklist from a mobile device. This is my suggestion as a digital process. I think Mian Hamid has a question.
Yes, hello, thank you.
Hi, Mian.
You mentioned a certain thing regarding. Hello?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yes, so sorry, thank you. Regarding the data collection verification, you mentioned AI is being used to carry out verification of the data.
Yeah,
how accurate
correct.
do you think they are currently? And are there particular AI products or solutions, especially for businesses, to be effectively implemented and replicated by every company?
Yeah. Now our AI is in beta mode. We're utilizing, we are utilizing OpenAI engine via Microsoft for security reasons as well. And we are doing this in the reporting level. So what we are doing is actually in practice is that once the data are collected, structured, stored in the correct fields, then we run a quality test of the data, and This depends on the prompt because it's a language model. You need to do some tests, maybe on the past data, and do some quality tests and changing the prompt, how you frame the question to have. So I have seen that they give very good results as data. Where I have not seen, and what is the main challenge with those models, is that even that they tend to please you. I mean, there are a lot of articles. For example, I have seen that they make more mistakes in submitting data about themselves in the system. So I have seen uploading information. They cannot find the information that they were looking for, but submitting information, incorrect data to the system. So for data quality, they work very well. For data submission is the most difficult part, I think, where you need to ask the system to give you confidence level. So this is the key, let's say, approach. Not just ask them to do a quality check, but also provide to you also confidence level, because in many cases they give you an answer, but they are not very confident. And if you don't ask them to report the confidence level, you will get an answer that they have low confidence and most probably they're not correct. So there are prompting engineering ways that you can overcome these hurdles. But if you do it like, you don't pay much attention, maybe it's very dangerous to come up with difficult, with non-effective systems. We have two questions.
Completely agree. Thank you.
Yeah. We have two questions. I don't know who raised it first. I think Hamidullah Tunio asked first.
Sir, I have question.
Yeah.
How
Yeah.
can ESG impact a company's financial performance?
Sorry, what was the question?
How can ESG impact a company's financial performance?
There are, yeah, this is not, yeah, thank you for the question. As I started the presentation, practically, I have seen that depending on the market as well, first of all, by lending money, there are banks have some internal goals to lend money to more sustainable companies. So when you're not performing very well on ESG, you have more cost of lending money in many cases, in many markets. So this is one way. The second way is that, for example, if you have, like, I don't know if you know, there are some cancel movements, social movements that, for example, that you can prevent if you have, so, for example, low health and safety performance. You have a lot of injuries, etc. This will hurt the reputation of the company. So there are a lot of reputation risks. So either you'll get a lowest valuation from investors, highest rates for lending money, and reputation challenges from your clients. So I think these are the three most important ways that ESG performance might affect your economical and financial performance. Mohammed, I think, Mohammed, I
Thank you
don't know
so
this.
much.
Yeah.
Well, yes, hello. Can you hear me?
Yeah, hello. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, my question is, what is the distinctive benefit of the Techman software? Like the whole purpose, the objective.
Yeah. Look, what I didn't want to talk about, of course, I talked about what we do in order in some cases of the presentation to help the discussion and help understand what we do as a company, what is our approach. So I didn't want it, and I didn't include what makes us unique, etc., which I think there are many cases. In our case, what we have developed, we are a software company that understand processes. So ourselves, I'm co-founder of the company. As I said, I have worked many years in construction sites and understand from inside what is the problem of from the operational side. So we have a very operational approach, and we help companies not only in the reporting, which I think is very much important, but we help companies be optimized internal operations around ESG. So what we do uniquely, I think, is that we are, I think, the best solution in the market when you want to operationalize ESG. If you want a system for reporting, maybe there are better systems from us. But if you want a system internally for teams to coordinate, communicate, collaborate around ESG topics, and also because our platform is under the umbrella of no-code systems, meaning that we give also access to the internal health and safety and ESG departments, not the IT departments, but the internal business units to also create by their own workflows without needing to be able without code. So with drag and drop tools, you can create, for example, as I mentioned, we have some, for example, uh, uh, approval workflows. You can create them by digitizing yourself. So this is our approach, and this is what we are unique on: operationalizing the ESG and also giving access to non-IT department to also be able themselves to internally create, or if they don't like a process or a workflow, to change them internally. They don't have to ask the IT department, then IT us, etc. It's a system that they can maintain that internally.
Right. So apart from the ESG, only the environment, the Techman competes and participate in health and safety distinctively, right?
Health and safety, quality, we have a quality, risk management, and asset management and technical maintenance, all in one platform. For example, we work with Achthia group that they use the platform for food quality, for health and safety, for ESG. It's 6 billion company in 14, 20 countries, etc. And with a single platform, they manage all these operations. Because if you think all these are non-financial processes, that it's just different framework. In one case, it's ESG framework. In other cases, health and safety framework. In other cases, food quality framework. Exactly. So this is what we do. We digitize frameworks, and we do that with giving the frontline teams the correct tools to collaborate, digitize the processes, and be more productive. This is our concept as a company. ESG is just a sector for us.
Right. Thank you.
Okay.
Does anybody have any more questions?
Thank you for the informative information. Thank you. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you very much, everyone. We have requested in the chat to fill the registration form and put the attendance code in the registration form. So you will get the certificate. Please give your correct information, your name, spellings, and everything to issue these webinar certificates. Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Panos, for your time and for the valuable information. We are very helpful and very thankful for your time and the precious information.
Thank you a lot.
Hopefully, we will get another session with you soon, inshallah.
Yeah, and I will be in the region this September. You can find me on LinkedIn. You can send me if you want to meet in person as well. I will stay, me and my partner will stay there for almost half for the whole September.
Sure.
And yeah, thank you. Thank you a lot.
Thank you very much. Thank you
Thank
everyone for your
you.
participation. You all are requested again to fill the registration form and put the attendance code in the field of the registration form. So you will be eligible to get the certificate. And I am repeating again and again to put the attendance code in the registration form. The link is given in the chat. Please fill that registration form. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. If you anybody have any questions, please ask us in WhatsApp and in chat.
Bye. Bye for me.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Mr. Panos. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Bye. Bye. Bye.
Well, I believe I have in person actually already filled this form. So, hello.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mohammed.
No, I just want to know because do I have to fill it again? I did it yesterday in the morning, I believe, before attending the session.
No, that was another form. It was
Ah,
I've given the link for the attendance form.
So
okay.
please just the link is not open with me. So just I put it my name. If you put my name here under the link, if you see my name with the mobile number, because the link is not open with me because I attend from my PC for the company, so it's rejected from the cybersecurity to enter this
No
link.
issue. You can use your mobile phone instead. You
طيب
can
okay.
fill this
Okay.
form from your mobile phone.
So did you share with the WhatsApp?
So,
Actually, WhatsApp can't share that link over the WhatsApp. You can message me in private and I will send you the link, but
طيب
not in the.
I will enter from WhatsApp. Okay.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Will.
Hello, sir.
Hello? Yes.
Uh, can you give us the attendance code? How to
It
find the
was given
attendance
in
code?
it was given in the training during the training. It was already communicated during the training.
Then how can we fill the form? In form, attendance code is required.
Attendance code was already provided during the training session.
Sorry, I missed the code. So you can provide me?
Please follow the chat and you will get, I think you will get the details.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you. You will get your certificate within 10 to 15 working days, and we will request you all to kindly share these your valuable feedback and your certificate over the LinkedIn, so that will help others to join our series of webinar in future. Thank you, everyone. Thank you very much for your support. See you next month with another great topic of free webinar series. Thank you, everyone. Bye.
Thank you, sir.